Is the pessimism warranted? For those who don't know, we just had the State of Azeroth, where Holly Longdale and Ian Hazakostas went over the roadmaps for 2026 for both retail version of WoW and also classic WoW. It was a 30-minute presentation that, quite honestly, could have just been an email or a blog post. And you want to know how I know that? Because the presentation was them just reading a blog post. I'm not joking. Look at the wording here. They basically go over everything they talked about in the live stream here. So are people right to be disappointed, or is Midnight looking better than I think some people are giving it credit for? Personally, I think it's the latter. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and it's 2 minutes to midnight somewhere at least.
Closer to what will come next.
So here they are. These are the roadmaps for World of Warcraft for 2026. We have Midnight, we have TBC, and we also have Mists of Pandaria. Yeah, that's still going. And when it comes to the classic side of things, I think it's fair that people thought there was going to be a bit more here than, well, just this. Especially since, like, with BlizzCon and afterwards, there's just nothing for Mists of Pandaria, and some people may view that to be a bit of an oddity. Personally, I think that's the classic Mists of Pandaria experience. You get Siege of Orgrimmar, and then you wait a year and a half with absolutely nothing else to do. As someone who played back in the days of Mists of Pandaria, trust me, that is the classic experience. But the entire section they did about classic really just felt like them going, guys, we know you want Classic Plus, we want to do Classic Plus, we're just not ready to talk about it yet. Like, look, this is not all we have cooking up. We can say with confidence, all classic players across the globe have a lot to look forward to. We'll save that for later. I think waiting till BlizzCon in September is really kicking the can down the road. But look, if it's just not ready yet, it's just not ready. But it basically feels inevitable at this point. We're going to get a Classic Plus. Now to Midnight.
Closer to what will come next.
I fully get it. I was live streaming this. Trust me, that live stream was a rough watch. It just was. It was way too long with not enough new information. Most of the things they talked about were things we already knew. Not everything, but a lot of what they talked about. But I do think when we take a step back and we look at the roadmap for Midnight, I am personally very much looking forward to Midnight as an expansion. There's nothing big and flashy with the launch necessarily. It does feel like a continuation of the War Within. I don't necessarily view that to be a bad thing though. For launch, you get the 4 zones, the campaign, new level cap, Haranir, the praise system, which I haven't actually checked out myself yet. I'm hoping that's good. New delves, which I'm looking forward to, new dungeons, raids, they all look good to me. Then we get to the stuff down the line, 12.0.5, Void Assault and Prop Hunt. I imagine the Void Assaults are just going to basically be another version of the Legion Assault from, well, you guessed it, Legion, but instead of being Fel Green, it'll be Void Purple this time. I imagine that's just what they're going to be. Maybe with a bit of iteration here and there. I would like to see that. I think 12.0.5 looks, even just like look next to all the other patches here, it does look rather light when it comes to content. But Void Assault could be okay, I guess. There's always that fear that it could just feel like the Midnight pre-patch event and just end up feeling like slop. But Legion Assaults were pretty fine, so we'll have to wait and see. Plus, we don't know if there's any actual changes to them yet. But also Prop Hunt. I have seen some takes surrounding Prop Hunt. I am personally very much looking forward to it. It looks like a ton of fun. I love Prop Hunt as a concept when it comes to other games. For those who don't know what it is, it's basically hide and seek, but the people trying to hide have the ability to turn into decor and try to blend into the environment, and it's up to the seekers to be able to spot them out and, well, find them. With WoW Housing bringing the whole decor feature into the game, Prop Hunt just feels like a continuation of that idea. I think it makes a lot of sense to add a mode like this, even if it's a limited time event. I think it could be a ton of fun. My only real main concern is the mechanic the hunters are going to have to be able to identify what the props are compared to like the hiders, and whether or not it'll be too easy to cheese with that, we'll have to wait and see. But I think the idea of Prop Hunt as a new event could be a ton of fun. I see the take, and I disagree with it, but I see the take that people wish they didn't do Prop Hunt, and instead of devoting resources to Prop Hunt, put it to like raids or PvP or whatnot, right? I see that take. I think it's important for an MMO like World of Warcraft in the modern day to be willing to have fun and do these side little activities. Legion Remix was a ton of fun. Not everyone likes Plunderstorm. I liked it a bit. I like having these like basically mini games added as events. I think they break up the flow. I think they can be a nice change of pace. I think they can be really enjoyable. Plus, I'm almost certain it's a completely different team to these other departments. And while I imagine it absolutely does take resources to make something like Prop Hunt, with the way they described it, the props you'll turn into are just the core, and they're reusing locations that already exist in the game, like Silvermoon City, and I believe they talked about on the live stream, like the housing neighborhoods. It seems like they're doing what they can to save a bunch of dev time when it comes to a mode like this. Some people may say that's lazy. I think it's a good use of resources. And if it means we can get modes like Prop Hunt while not being necessarily overly developer intensive and time intensive, I think that's a win overall.
Closer to what will come next.
Then I really like the looks of 12.0.7. Story and quest, Void Assault escalation. So building off that idea that was just introduced in the previous micro patch, a new raid and turbulent timeways. This builds off one of the ideas they really try to hone in with this live stream. That is the idea of doing a bunch of smaller raids that are available more frequently, instead of just relying on 2 big raid tiers for like a year. I really like this idea. In a world of MMORPGs that is becoming ever more increasingly puggable, where people just want more and more content offered frequently, I think providing a new, even if it's a smaller raid and just a one boss raid on a more frequent basis, I think that's a win. Plus, it makes those raid instances far more digestible. For instance, maybe you have a little bit of time on any given day to play the game, and you really want to do some raid content, but you don't want to sit around for an entire 8 boss raid. So maybe you can queue up just for a Sporefall run, which is just a 1 boss raid, get your chance at loot, and then go on about your time. And it continues a trend that I'm seeing a lot more with Midnight, where it feels like the trying to take a lot of inspiration from the Burning Crusade, not just aesthetically, but also now when it comes to the raid scene. And now instead of having to wait from launch all the way to the 0.1 patch, we have at least a little something in that middle chunk of time to look forward to when it comes to raid. And we get that again going from 12.1 to 12.2. 12.2 is not this year, but look at 12.1.5. There's a new raid there as well. And they talked about on the live stream where Sporefall, the raid in 12.0.7, might not be relevant to the overarching main story of Midnight. The raid in 12.1.5 will be. There's another element here that is continuing something Midnight is really trying to do, and that is overhaul a lot of core foundational elements of the World of Warcraft experience. In 12.1, blink and you'll miss it, they talked about overhauling the friend system, because it's just one throwaway line. The update will also bring with it an overhaul of the friend system, making it easier to keep up with friends you have and make new friends along the way. This continues a direction with the War Within to some extent, but especially with Midnight, with them trying to make the game a more social experience to varying degrees of success. Again, we know basically nothing about what that friend system overhaul is going to actually look like, but it's nice to know it's going to get looked at just overall.
Closer to what will come next.
With 12.1.5, they're introducing the Labyrinth system. What's a Labyrinth? Think of mega dungeons, but for delves. And the concept art looks so dang good. It's grandiose and spacious and cool, and if they're able to nail this, hopefully really brings to the forefront that feeling I want delves to have, which is basically going on a little mini Indiana Jones expedition. Some delves do that better than others in the War Within, and I really like the idea of delves. If it's content that doesn't really appeal to you and you just want a PvP and you just want to raid, you can largely ignore them. But if you want something that you can do by yourself, or maybe help gear up an alt, or you got a few minutes and you want to do a piece of content but you don't really want to bother with talking to other people, delves as a system is a great thing to satisfy that niche of the market. But if you just keep doing delves over and over and over and over and over again, they get kind of stale and stagnant when it comes to its form factor. When it comes to labyrinths, I really like the idea of giving you something far larger to be able to sink your teeth into, but also if you want to tackle it piece by piece, you can still do that. My main chief concern when it comes to the Labyrinth system is if all of these little subsections just end up feeling like an individual delve, just gorilla glued together. That would be my main concern with this system. I would personally like there to be some kind of interplay between the various chambers of this Labyrinth. We don't know whether or not it's going to have something like that. This is just my own personal hope and aspiration for what this system ends ends up becoming. I hope that each of these different like labeled sections aren't just an individual delve just connected through the WoW housing editor. That's what I don't want it to be. I want it to feel like I'm going into this giant underground construct, this giant installation, and I'm fully exploring it, trying to uncover something or discover something. That's what I hope it ends up becoming, and that's the feeling I wanted to elicit. Could they drop the ball with this? Absolutely. But I think something like Labyrinth is exactly what I want to see when it comes to iterating on the delve idea and foundation. I'm glad the idea of iteration isn't just going to be we throw out more of the same exact type of content, because that can feel stale, it can feel stagnant. I like the fact they're willing to say, okay, people like this core idea, they like this system, what can we do with this? Can we stretch the boundaries of what this system can truly be and what it can become? I like the fact they're willing to do that. They're willing to experiment and try something new and different. And judging from the concept art compared to like the little snippet of in-game stuff we actually have for this, even though this does kind of look like a different delve that's also in Midnight, if the Labyrinth system has plenty of aesthetic diversity there to give each different section its own charm, while still feeling like one giant system, I think that could be really dang cool. I'm very much looking forward to Labyrinths. What a great idea. And then later in the year, we'll get a whole new event from the same people that did Plunderstorm and Remix. Don't know what it is. It looks pretty spooky, kind of like the Drust from Drustvar, or maybe I'm just seeing things a little bit Shaw from like Miss of Pandaria. I know there were like talks about some kind of, maybe horror mode is like the wrong way to put it, but like spooky mode from a while back. Maybe we can finally see that brought into the game here. I like it when they do events. I view them as a breath of fresh air, like a little nice mini game to have on the side that can also pad out like these periods of downtime between major patches. I'm looking forward to it, whatever it ends up becoming.
Closer to what will come next.
Okay, look, cinematic aside, I think 2026 is looking rather good for Midnight. In a lot of ways, it does look like a continuation of the War Within. And yeah, pre-patch is pretty bad, but I do think in a lot of ways, Midnight is laying the foundation upon which the future of WoW can be really built off of in fun and exciting ways. I like the direction they're going with Midnight. While I think the story is kind of underwhelming for Midnight, at least from what I've played, I do think it's a step up from the War Within in certain ways. Prop Hunt looks fun. I'm looking forward to that later, like, spooky mode we'll probably get as well. Labyrinth look really fun. I'm glad they're trying to do Legion Assault again, but this time purple. Hopefully they get even more iteration. I love the fact they're going back to like smaller raid formats. I think there's a lot good and positive when it comes to Midnight, and I'm looking forward to the expansion. But here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on the future of World of Warcraft. What do you want to see the most? Is it Classic Plus? Is it Labyrinths? Is it something else? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinion, hear your perspectives. And what is it about any of those roadmaps that intrigues you the most? Or what is the one element of World of Warcraft you want to see changed and why? Comment down below. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Speaking of the future of World of Warcraft, there were a couple of interviews with PC Gamer that revealed quite a bit of information for the future. Possible Stormwind and Orgrimmar revamps, but also, people, the World Soul Saga is about to have a body count. People are gonna die. Oh yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Want to find out more? You should check out this video right here. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.